Oh my gosh. Hello, Internet people. I'm back. How are you? Happy Friday and welcome back to another edition of Friday Sews. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm sure you're all wondering where I disappeared to. Even I am sort of wondering where I disappeared to as well. Don't worry, I'm going to fill you in on what I've been up to, and to do that, we're going to take a little journey back in time. Hello, Internet people, and welcome to my car. I didn't expect to see you guys here, but I'm very excited because today I am on my way to a sewing retreat. And by sewing retreat, I'm house sitting for a week and decided to pack up all of my sewing things. I left my cat and my husband behind, and I'm going to spend the next week doing nothing but sewing. I packed up pretty much everything. I even have my ironing board here. You can see my cutting mat in the back. My car is absolutely packed. I have my serger and my sewing machine. I have literally everything. So I'm going to set up a little sewing room, basically a sewing studio for the next week, and just sew. I have arrived and I'm looking a little worse for wear because I just unloaded the car and it's really hot outside. So let me show you the sewing studio for the next week. Here is the sewing studio for the week. You can see I have piles of stuff everywhere. I haven't unpacked anything. Had to show you first in the unset up space, but basically it's pretty sparse here because they're actually moving out pretty much as soon as I'm done house sitting. They're moving out. So this will no longer be a sewing space by the time you see it. It will be in the hands of someone else. Basically, I brought my own table and my own chair because, like I said, there's not a lot of stuff here. My serger is in that wall wack box. I have pretty much all my sewing stuff in that suitcase. You can see my Juki hiding back there. I've got fabric, rulers, ton of stuff. So now I'm debating where I should set up my sewing space. So originally I thought I would set up in this dining room because it has an overhead light. But then I was looking at the living room and I just feel like it's so aesthetic and calming. And I could like move the couch and like set up the table basically where the couch is under the window. And I think that would be very aesthetically pleasing of a place to sew in, but it's not quite as bright. I did bring my slim light to attach to my sewing table, so I do have that. So I don't know, do I choose the place with more light or do I choose the more aesthetically pleasing space? I guess I could always set up one and then move it if I don't like it. Considering I brought it all here, it probably shouldn't be that hard to actually move it later. So I've got my sewing space all set up. I finally decided to set up here in the living room because I love the windows and the lighting. So I moved the couch, and let me give you a tour. So in my suitcase, I have all of the things that I need, like extra things. I brought everything, thread, notions, everything like that is in the suitcase. Then I have my machine set up here and my ironing board. That's all you really need. So I have to say I had pretty grand plans for this sewing retreat. I had lined up like 20 different projects that I was definitely gonna finish. I was gonna take quality alone time, I was gonna meditate, go for walks, do yoga. It pretty much didn't pan out the way I thought it was going to. I ended up finishing about 1.25 projects, which I'll tell you about. I did do some yoga, I didn't really meditate, didn't really go for walks, and it pretty much just devolved into frantic sewing madness. So let's talk about what I completed while I was there. The Friday Pattern Company Wilder gown, which I am wearing, from start to finish, I made that. And then the Mccalls 7969, I ended up making 3 mock-ups of the bodice and cutting out the main fabric for it. When I got home, I ended up working on it here, and I'll show you my progress for that as well. Okay, so let's talk about this Wilder gown. I chose a polyester bubble crepe from Minerva.com. It's this really inky, dark navy blue color, which, oh, I love it. And I have to say, it's probably the slipperiest fabric I have ever worked with. But I did it, I got it all cut out. The absolute best part of the whole sewing retreat was being able to lay out and cut on that island. The other amazing thing was not having to clean up after I was done. The island was so big. I had so much space. It was just the right height for me. I mean, it could be a little taller, but it was like perfect compared to what I'm used to. And there was no cat to get up on it and mess around near all the sharp things. And there was no husband that I had to clean it up so that I could make dinner on it. And it was amazing. I could cut out my muslin, sew it up really quick, cut out another one, sew it up real quick, cut out this, cut out that, lay everything out. Oh, it was just amazing. I cannot even describe to you. I almost wish I had planned no sewing and just spent the whole time like tracing off patterns and cutting out muslins and cutting out like just cutting the whole time, or like tracing off patterns that I'm going to use in the future. But anyways, I guess it's still kind of nice to have a dress to show for my week there. Before cutting it out, I did make 3 mock-ups, 3 muslins of the bodice. I started with an extra large. That was the closest thing to my measurements. Didn't feel quite right. It felt a little bit short, a little bit small. So I decided to make a size up and just kind of see what that would be like, even though I kind of had an inkling I would probably be just modifying the extra large. So I made an extra large. That ended up being too big. It was way too big in the bust. It was too much fabric around this area. So I decided you probably need to adjust the extra large to fit. So after like half a day of humming and hawing and Googling it, I decided there was something not quite right about the shoulders and a little bit in the bust. So I thought about doing a forward shoulder adjustment. I could not figure out how to do that with this pattern piece. The neck, oh, I just touched my microphone. The neck piece here is kind of like grown on, is that what you would say? Grown on to the bodice piece, and I couldn't quite figure out how to like rotate the shoulder points forward. So I decided to do a broad shoulder adjustment. It's basically a raglan sleeve with this neck piece attached to it. So I took some instructions that I saw online for doing a broad shoulder adjustment on a raglan sleeve. I did that. I also added a ½ inch to the bust, full bust adjustment, which the pattern does have a slash line for. And I also lengthened it by, I think, 1.5 inches. And I thought that that fit way better. There was definitely, it was more comfortable in the shoulders. Before it felt really like up, like on, like I can't describe it. It felt wrong. It didn't feel quite right. Definitely needed the broad shoulder situation. So I did take some video of the muslins that I made for this Wilder gown and talked through them a little bit. So if you've reached this video and you're curious about that, go to my channel. I felt like that was good. I went ahead, cut it out. Like I said, super slippery, sewed it up. It was a really easy pattern to sew up. Had no problems. I used my brand new machine, which was amazing, and it handled the fabric really well. Didn't really have any issues with that. So let me give you some video of it so you can see it in its full glory that I took while I was still there. Overall, I'm really happy with it. It's so loose and flowy and comfortable. I love the color. I love that you can adjust the gathers at the neckline. You can wear it kind of more open or more like cinched up around your neck. The gathers are so floaty, and yeah, I just want to twirl around in a field for the rest of the summer. So for the Mccalls 7969, I decided to go with my wallpaper fabric. If you don't remember, I think in my last Friday Sews video, I talked about this purple floral fabric that inspired me from when I was younger. In my bedroom, there was this purple floral wallpaper behind the ugly 70s, 80s, 60s-ish paneling that I used to be very curious by. And when I saw this fabric, I had to just get it. So I decided to make the Mccalls 7969 out of that fabric. And so while I was away, I made 3 different mock-ups of the bodice to check for fit. I made an extra large. It was a little too big. The bust points were really, really low. So I decided to try a large. I made that, and that felt a little too small. So then I just decided to make an in-between size, and that was actually, I think, a decent choice. It's, I think, still a little bit big and probably needs some more fitting work, but I'm okay with it because it's a pretty oversized dress. So let me show you my progress on that. Like I said, I cut it out while I was away, and then when I got back, I was working on it a little bit this last weekend. Okay, so here it is. This is my wallpaper dress. I'm almost finished with it. I need to redo the bindings on the sleeves. For some reason, it's really wavy and I can't quite figure out why. And I've redone it a couple times already, but I'm gonna go ahead and redo it again. I also need to fix the waist. It's not gathered up quite right, and there's like this weird wrinkle here in the front. I also need to add a hem. So for this dress, I also actually added a lining to the skirt because the fabric's a little bit sheer. So I'm going to work on that and then it'll be finished. I have to say though, I'm not 100% sure how close it is to my style. I'm not a huge floral person. I'm not a very big princessy dress person, and it feels kind of princessy to me. I do love the fabric. Like I said, it brings up all kinds of nostalgic feelings for me. So I'm gonna finish it and wear it, and we'll go from there. Who knows? Maybe it'll become my style, and if nothing else, I'll just wear it around the house and pretend like I'm a princess, because who doesn't want to do that? So that is what I have been up to. Coming up, I'm gonna finish up that Mccalls 7969. And I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I did cut out one more muslin project, Mccalls 7974. I cut out the pieces for that first muslin. So I can sew that up next, I guess, as well. One more piece of news and then I'm gonna let you guys go. But when I was gone, my channel hit 1,000 subscribers and I can't even believe it. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching my videos and being interested in what I have to say. I am so deeply humbled by that. And yeah, it's just really hard to wrap my head around. So anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go. I am going to go watch, I'm gonna go binge watch some Friday Sews, because as much as I haven't been posting on YouTube, I also haven't been watching YouTube. So I have no idea what anyone is up to, and I just wanna get caught up and catch up with everybody. So I hope you have a really good weekend. I hope you have some fun sewing plans for yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and take care, and I will talk to you soon.